Now, there's a new landmark analysis that found that pollution actually kills more people than war, disaster, or hunger. Now, this is across the world. Now, this is according also to the most comprehensive global analysis done to date of pollution. Now, according to this analysis, pollution kills at least 9 million people and costs trillions of dollars every year. Now, the report goes on to explain that toxic air, water, soils, and workplaces are also responsible for the diseases that kill 1 in 6 people around the world, and that the true total cost could be millions higher because of the impact of many pollutants are poorly understood. Now, the deaths attributed to pollution are triple that from those from AIDS, malaria, and tuberculosis combined. So you look at all these major diseases, and you compare that to the deaths from pollution and pollution-related illnesses, that's huge, 3 times. Now, in America, of course, pollution does happen to be a problem, especially now that we've been in an era of deregulation. But as it stands, the vast majority of pollution deaths occur in poorer nations, and in some, such as India, Chad, and Madagascar, pollution causes a quarter of all deaths. Now, in wealthy countries like the US and Japan and Germany, they're also in the top 10 for deaths from modern forms of pollution, which is basically described as fossil fuel-related air pollution and chemical pollution. Now, this study was from the authors of the Commission on Pollution and Health, and it was published in the Lancet on Friday. And they said it is one of the great existential challenges of the human-dominated Anthropocene era. Pollution endangers the stability of the Earth's support systems and threatens the continuing survival of the human societies. Now, like I said before, that 9 million number is actually conservative. Now, the report explains that this is because scientists are still discovering the links between pollution and ill health, such as the connection between air pollution and dementia, diabetes, and kidney disease. Furthermore, lack of data on many toxic metals and chemicals are also not included with this new analysis. So even though it's super comprehensive, there's a lot of things that we don't know about how pollution impacts us personally. Now, we do know the impact of pollution on countries. Now, you'll be shocked to find out that pollution negatively impacts the world economy. Yeah, it's a little bit of sarcasm. No, researchers estimate the welfare losses from pollution are at $4.6 trillion a year. Now, that's the equivalent of more than 6% of global GDP and is an astounding amount of money. And it's not just, like I said, the impact pollution has on people, but it also, I'm sorry, that is the impact pollution has on people and welfare programs, of course, but that doesn't mention the land, water, and air. Now, speaking of air pollution, the Commission report combined data from the World Health Organization and elsewhere and found that air pollution happened to be the biggest killer, leading to heart disease, stroke, and lung cancer, as well as other illnesses. Outdoor air pollution, largely from vehicles and industries, caused 4.5 million deaths a year, and indoor air pollution from wood and dung stoves caused 2.9 million deaths. So, again, the wood stoves are primarily used in undeveloped countries, but we dwarf them by 4.5 million. Now, the next biggest killer was pollution of water, often with sewage, which is linked to 1.8 million deaths as a result of gastrointestinal diseases and parasitic infections. Workplace pollution, including exposure to toxins, carcinogens, and secondhand tobacco smoke, resulted in 800,000 deaths from diseases including pneumoconiosis in coal workers and bladder cancer in dye workers. Lead pollution, which is what's going on in Flint and a lot of other American cities, was linked to about 500,000 deaths per year. Now, it won't surprise you that places that have little regulation on industry are affected the worst. Now, these are generally low-income and rapidly industrializing countries, and they make up 92% of all pollution-related deaths, with Somalia suffering the highest rate of pollution death. India, where both traditional and modern pollution happen to be severe, has by far the largest number of pollution deaths at 2.5 million, China in second with 1.8, and Russia and the US are in the top 10. Now, I understand China and India, but how are we in the top 10? Oh, right, it's because we have deregulation. We've got Republicans and corporate Democrats that work together to deregulate industry because, look, they don't care about the environment. They got to get paid. And look, Donald Trump, since he got into office, has rolled back several of President Obama's regulations on coal ash. Now you're allowed to, as a company, to dump coal ash into the rivers. Wonderful. But look, President Obama wasn't even super great on the environment. During his administration, we had a fracking boom. Now, fracking has been known to contaminate groundwater with chemicals, as well as release a lot of methane, which ends up going to climate change. However, compared to Republicans, I mean, look, Republicans, they've wanted to destroy the EPA for quite a long time. And now they have Scott Pruitt as head of the EPA. Now, before he was head of the EPA, he sued them multiple times to try and prevent them from doing any sort of regulation. Now that he's head of the EPA, he's basically turned it into an administration, an agency that protects industry and not the environment. So, I mean, I can talk about the impacts of pollution in America. I can't really speak to impacts of pollution across the globe, which is actually, like I said, like the report said, far, far worse than we have in America. But at the same time, what we can do is we can talk about this in an American context. So what should we do in our American context? Well, the researchers said we should roll out new regulations and subsidies for polluting industries and deploy new technologies. And they give the example of smokestack filters. Now, I think in America, that right now is going to be impossible. Why? Because right now there's a new rule that for every one regulation that is implemented, 2 need to be repealed. That's insanity. That's childish. For subsidies, oh, you think we're going to end the subsidies? Are you kidding? Not with our bot Congress. Heck no. The reason that we're not going to do any of these things right now is because industry runs the place. And we've given the keys to the castle to an idiot who doesn't care about anything but his own, his own fortune, his own bottom line. And the Republicans, like I said in Congress, they don't even believe climate change is happening. They don't believe that pollution is a bad thing. They're like, yeah, it's a cost of doing business. Yet let's allow these corporations to continue to pollute more because that helps our donors. So yes, we're going to deregulate. A little pollution isn't that harmful for you, right? No. These are both problems that we can actually do something about if we had the political will as a nation to actually lead the world in doing so. Now, imagine if the United States, and we could definitely do this, became a world leader in solar power and in cleaning up pollution. We could lead the rest of the world. What do we choose to do? We choose to go backwards, and we choose to deregulate and give all the breaks to these companies who pollute. We're making the problem worse. We're not making it better. And we're not going to make it better as long as the people that are in charge are enriched by being able to have these companies pollute the world. And they're enriched through campaign donations. Oil and gas industry and all these chemical industries give so much to both Republicans and Democrats, more so to Republicans, but they're allowed to, through those donations, to basically control what Congress actually does and what kind of regulations they decide to pass. So that's what's going on here. That's our problem. And unfortunately, until we solve that problem of lobbyist money in politics, we're going to continue to have nothing get done. And more people are going to die from pollution that is entirely preventable. Hey everybody, thanks for watching this video. If you want to see more like this, please hit the subscribe button below. And if you want to support truly independent progressive media, please consider becoming a patron at patreon.com/TYTNation.